Mr. Devine.
Thank you. My wife will confirm that there are several investigative reporters at the CBC that I have not too secret crushes on, because I respect and admire what they do so much. So what should we do? There's not a hard room to convince to support the CBC, I'm sure. What do? I work in nonprofit. We offer them guaranteed, stabilized funding. We remove the practice of government appointments to the board of directors of the CBC. That's a given. We take another look at that Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP, and remove any clause that says that we will sell off infrastructure if the CBC is not profitable. And finally, before this is a total love-in, we have to restore a little bit more journalistic integrity at the CBC. They are becoming a little bit too chummy with power. 50s. And when media becomes too chummy, hey, I love them all, but they're rubbing elbows with people they should not be rubbing elbows with. They should be standing face to face and not rubbing elbows. So there's been a few scandals at CBC. That's partly due to the fact that we've got to pull them a little bit back from their rich friends.
That's time, Mr.
The first debate in the elections was sponsored by Rogers Media. Since then, we've had 5 debates. In this way, the debates were privatized and organized for elite to form elite opinion. The audiences for these debates range from 300,000 to 1 million. They have been properly called boutique debate. They're a cynical manipulation of democracy and the right to have an informed vote. This is an attack on CBC and the previous practice of a consortium where you had a national debate. In other words, you had a national sense of the country. Whether you liked it or not, whether the Greens or our party were allowed to participate, it was a national forum. All the parties defending the CBC basically present a neoliberal thing that they have to finance themselves. We need to expand the public enterprises, and we need to establish cultural sovereignty, not only in terms of a national broadcaster, but also books, periodicals, and cinema.
That's time. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our question period. We now have 3 minutes. 3 minutes for each candidate with their closing statements for tonight. We'll do this in reverse alphabetical order. So, Mr. Splett, we will begin with you.
I got to stand. No questions on these chairs. Well, what do I say? It hasn't been said before. If any of you people have a mortgage on your house, is it paid off? How long did you pay the interest on it? 10 years? 20 years? We've been paying the mortgage, I think, for almost 100 years on the national debt. It was gliding along quite nicely until Pierre Trudeau came in, and then it took off like that. Just look at the chart. Then Mulroney came in, and I think he doubled it. I think he was going to tackle the debt, but he doubled it. With $26 billion a year going for the interest payment, the time has come to start paying it off. That's the message I think we need to hear and to act on in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Splett. Mr. C.
Thank you for your participation, and thank you for this opportunity to participate in this discussion tonight. There are many serious questions that have been raised reflecting the concerns of the electors, and this shows again the necessity to establish forums where these questions can be gone into, more than giving a 1-minute soundbite. For example, on the question of McCab, a number of us said, why is this question even being discussed? We cannot take a defensive attitude by reducing it to a matter of, how many people are wearing it and how many are not. The issue is, it's Harper government that has a hidden agenda. And yet he's accusing others of hiding their face. Right? So instead of discussing the hidden agenda of the Harper government, we're debating whether or not. So this is to be defensive, right? Instead of affirming our rights and looking at reality square in the eye and raising the issues which are the order of the day. When we spend time on that question, we are not dealing with the issues which are the order of the day. Right? The question of CDC, the question of expanding public sector, goes right against the whole liberal, neoliberal program, which is unfortunately pursued by not only the liberals but also the NDP, who have presented themselves as more conservative than the liberals, who are themselves the original proponents of mega projects and globalization. On the issues of foreign affairs, these are not discussed. International trade is alluded to, but it's not discussed. We are for an anti-war government. This is an issue that is a local issue. When we talk about high-tech sector, as Mr. Chandra has alluded to, and revitalizing high-tech sector, what is behind that? Military, intelligence. And the equation is drawn that we have to accept this because of jobs. Right? When Nortel was crashed, there was all kinds of possibilities that could have been created if a public enterprise had been established, the skilled staff had been retained, and instead of Canada, or the Canadian government buying all its software from Microsoft,
15
it
seconds.
develops a Canadian software. The major parties are battling over Nepean. We are talking about the battle of Nepean. That is a battle or a struggle where we affirm our rights, where we affirm our interests. And this can only be done by voting Marxist-Leninists. To vote liberals is to vote for more of the same. The devil, we don't know.
That's time, Mr. C.
That's the devil we do know.
That's time, Mr. C. Mr. Devine.
Well, thank you very much for being here. There's always so much that we can learn from welcoming the customs of others. And I think that it is that spirit of curiosity and openness that makes a multicultural country like Canada so strong. So last night, I was at a dinner at the Jambi Omar Mosque just down the street from here. It was their community dinner for the festival Eid al-Adha, which is the festival of the sacrifice. And I learned that according to Muslim custom, the sacrifice is divided into 3 parts. The first third is kept for the family. The second third is shared to the community. And the final third is given to those who need it most, the poor. What a country we would be if we could treat our fellow citizens in that manner. If we dedicated a third of our goodwill to serving our community. If we dedicated a third of our vast wealth to helping those who need it most. Whether that's in our backyard or across the world. And even if we only approximated that level, we would be an inspiration to the entire world. Will that kind of generosity, will that kind of community service be found in this current government? No, that will not. It will never happen with today's government. But for any government to take that bold step, for any government to be that generous, requires a lot of courage. I think in this election, we are all being asked to have courage. We are so focused, like I said earlier, on which government we are afraid of, that we are not listening to that little voice inside. We are not listening to our hopes. We are not listening to our imagination. We are not listening to the courage that we have inside of us. And that is very unfortunate, because it is our imagination, it is our courage, and it is our hope that will define the country that we want to be. And we have to have that courage, we have to act with that courage to do that. We all know, we hear it all the time, Canada needs change. But that change is not going to happen without opposition, especially not here in the PM. And that change is not going to happen overnight. That change is going to take vision, and it's going to take strength, and it's going to take leadership. Even in the PM, even right here, for that change to happen, it's going to require someone who has the strength of character to build and maintain consensus. That change is going to require someone who can be compassionate to opposing views, but who can stand up and fight for what he believes in. That change is going to require someone who can be an independent thinker and not just follow marching orders. That change is going to require someone that you can trust, because there are going to be times that we do not agree with each other.
Thank you.
And I'm very confident that I can be that person for them.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Cosico.
Firstly, I would like to thank the organizers of this event. And it's, as an independent, it works out for me. At this time, I think, you know, I'm not Jesus, I'm Jesus Cosico. Jesus is too good a name for me. Anyways, like most of you, I'm concerned that there has been too much partisan politics, creating a barrier to real dialogue about the issues that concerns us and real change that will benefit ordinary Canadians. Many of our citizens have become indifferent and uninvolved. The youth, the women, who knows? I will be the voice of the youth, and to them I say, get involved and vote. It's your future. As an advocate of pro-left, this is the contentious one, I will make it my business to voice out and fight for the rights of the unborn.
What about the rights of women?
I'm not taking that away.
Yes, you are.
No.
Carry on, Mr. Cosico, please.
Thank you. I will be the voice of the sick and the elderly to improve and sustain proper and affordable care. I would like to see our society that is responsible, progressive, vibrant, and secure, encourages discussion and understanding. We need to discuss. We need to talk to each other. We need not fight. I'm pro-life. People here might be pro-choice. We need not fight. We have to sit down and talk and agree where we want to bring society looking forward. A society that respects life, has a strong family and moral values, recognizes people's rights, and respects them. I'm not here to be disrespectful of whatever rights everybody has. I'm just encouraging discussion. Let's have a dialogue. And I think as a society, that is what is missing. Let's all be brave. Like the question was, why aren't there enough women joining the political fray, or whatever, how you call it? Be brave. I'm not saying I'm brave, I'm scared right now, but they called me crazy. But here I am still. The dots are not lining up. When I see those big signs of my opponents, I think like I'm lost. Anyways, let me end with a quote from Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher. A journey to 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Join me in this single step and make me your member of parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cosico. Mr. Cooke.
As the other person with an almost famous first name, your signs are everywhere. People notice, trust me. All right. I presented myself tonight as a candidate for principal. I helped guide the Green Party through small business platform reform, pensions in the public service. I was actually the chair of the pension policy committee, and we looking at what happened with Ford, GM, Nortel, and then looking at success stories like the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. When you have control of your own pension fund and your employer does not, the best things happen. The Canada Pension Plan bought Skype for $1 billion and sold to Microsoft for 2.5 less than a year later, right? When there is an investment plan that is sitting on tens of billions of dollars, like the CPP, like the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, and the prospective federal civil servants pension plan, which doesn't exist right now, by the way, but it should. When that exists, you will attract rock stars in the financial industry because they want to have steady income, steady payouts, and a long-term plan for their investment. It is, and it's the best plan for you. If it's defined benefit, defined contribution, whatever, vote on it. Make up your own mind. But I, as a taxpayer and as someone who has civil servants within the family, it's the best of all worlds. Accountability and responsibility are in the same place. I present myself as knowledgeable. I read the bills. I consider it a responsibility myself when I run to read these bills that my gut opposes so much, and I decide to read them into and see where the devils are in the details. I'm also the hometown guy. I grew up here in Nepean. I feel at home, obviously, in Westcliffe. I've been in this room several times. And this brings me to the strategic vote business. I'm going to make an appeal to you. An appeal to the person on October 20th who wakes up and sees the results of the Parliament and realizes that maybe the one seat in Nepean didn't matter, and maybe your one vote didn't matter. But ask yourself how you would feel if you didn't vote for the candidate up here in front of you that you actually believed in. And you asked yourself, okay, now, did I really throw away my vote because I didn't vote the way I wanted? And the person who was elected now looks at the vote distribution and realizes, oh man, this is a cakewalk. I don't know why I was sweating it. Your vote matters. It doesn't just matter on election day, it matters every day afterwards because the elected parliamentarians are going to look back on the results and they're going to say, this is what Nepean is. This is how they voted, these are the issues that triggered them, and this is how I won. So please consider how it is you vote. And if you are going to do this strategic vote business, this psychological manipulation, and I understand the motivations, put the person that you want to put your vote towards on the spot. Put their feet to the fire. Say, how are you going to make it so I never have to do another strategic vote?
Mr. Arya.
This is a very important election. This election is about the future of our families. I understand how important it is for us to create high quality jobs here in Ottawa, here in Nepean. I have the background as a businessman. I worked in the high-tech sector, I work in the financial sector, and I got experience working on the board of Invest Ottawa, wherein we did work with the private sector extensively. I have the background and the experience to make it happen. I want to create a very stable alternative technology sector that can pay well, whose jobs will not get outsourced to China or India, and where our youngsters can join. As your federal representatives, I understand how important it is to work with all levels of the government, federal, provincial, and the city, and with the private sector. This is very important. Sometimes while dealing with the government, you forget finally it's the private sector that will actually create jobs. Our party is ready. Our leader is ready. We have got a very strong team and a real plan to bring in real change. We have got a 3-point plan, very simply put. 3-point plan. 1, infrastructure, investment in infrastructure. It's a no-brainer. Interest rates are low. Highly skilled technical workers are being laid off in the oil and gas sector. And we need to revive the economy. The economy is in recession. Technical recession or not, we all know it is in recession. So we are going to invest in infrastructure. And we are the only party, number 2, we are the only party who are cutting taxes for the middle class. We are reducing taxes for the people earning between 44,000 and 89,000. We support reduction in the small business tax from 11% to 9%. And we are the only party to work with all Canadians to make sure that the tax system is fair. Number 3, we want to support those families who want working hard to join the middle class. We want to invest in affordable housing. There's a very good business case for investment in affordable housing. Every single dollar invested in affordable housing will reduce multiple dollars in other social cause that we are
15 seconds.
having. I promise I will work very hard for you, your family, and I will work with everybody, people with all background and all political viewpoints, to make Nepean and Canada stronger. I hope you will join me on October 19th to achieve that. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all of our candidates who if you'd like to stick around, I'm sure some of the candidates will if they like, and feel free to ask them further questions. And thanks again to the organizers.